Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jonas Wellen. I'm here to talk to you about the rules and regulations for professional athletes and drug use, about how they need to be reformed by the athletic agencies to make more harsher and consistent punishments for the abuse of drugs, any type of drugs in general. Now, um, everyone everyone knows that cheaters never prosper in anything. But in sports, however, they always do. They make the drugs that athletes take make them bigger, faster, stronger than their competitors that do not take any type of drugs in general. Therefore, the therefore these regulations needs to change and needs to adopt a harsher, more punishment, more harsher punishment and consistent punishment to the athletes that do get caught with steroids or any type of um, drugs. Now there are many types of drugs athletes do use, but but the main one is steroids. And there's two ways that these athletes tend to use them. The first one is, of course, through antibiotics pills throughout their daily lives, and the second one is throughout injections. Now, how would I know this? Well, I recently am a NCAA D1 college athlete. I play baseball, and we get drug tested randomly, and it's sort of unfair to those that don't take drugs, but still have to get drug tested because there's a fear that from the NCAA that that athletes are still being are suspected of drug use. Now, now it's not fair for every athlete to be tested for drugs when there's only could be one person or let alone anyone using the drugs. Now, today I will discuss about three reasons. One, the regulations as of right now and why they should change. Two, the health conditions and the health problems that you can get while using steroids. And three, how I plan to change the rules and the regulations for the punishments. Now, like I said before, the sports do need to change their rules because the penalties are not strict enough from the athlete. And there's an article here that says from the title is "The History of Drug Testing in Sports and How Athletes Beat the Drugs." Now, it says International Olympic Committee and other sports organizations are ineffective performance-enhancing drug testing techniques and remain insincere about catching drug use athletes. Athletes employ many different methods to beat drug tests. Now, one way of this is athletes also use a lot of their support money to buy these drugs off of whether it be a trainer or some random person or the doctors. Another article here is the rule against performance-enhancing drugs. The commissioners of regulation agencies of all sports are best choice of implementing stricter rules and regulations regarding steroid use and making sure penalties are fair and enforced against all athletes in all sports the same. Now, athletes have too much time on their hands off the field to train, to do everything that they need to do to become a better athlete. But they also try to figure out ways to be one step ahead of their competition. And the only way they see fit getting there quick is, of course, the use of steroids. Now, there are a lot of there is an article on the health risk about performance-enhancing drugs are harmful to the health. Steroid is used widespread throughout all sports, used by men and women. How do I plan? What is my plan right now to stop the use of steroids? Well, like I said before, I do play baseball. I'm on a three-strike policy. The first one is a suspension from the season, 1 year, with of course a fine and time drug counseling. Second strike, course suspension from the year, fine, drug counseling, and they also have to do speeches to college and high schools about their use of drugs. And the third strike, they are officially done with the sport. They are banned for life. Now, with these stricter rules and regulations, the penalties, professional athletes will continue to try to cheat the system and continue to use sports enhancing drugs. Now, there's an article from Test Common Thread, raised new questions, that this article mainly states that there are repeated offenders. For two of the top most used offenders are Alex Rodriguez, commonly known as A-Rod, and Brian Cushing. Now, rules and regulations for steroids used by professional athletes must be reformed by the professional sports regulatory agencies to make penalties harsh and consistent. Until reform of the rules, regulations and penalties are implemented, sports fans and refuse and boycott these events. Teams and players that have been found guilty of using sports-enhancing drugs must allow those athletes to continue to play without punishment, especially if the athlete is a repeated offender. Whether you are a sports fan, we got to watch out for our young children and who they look up to. If they look up to someone that cheats, that's probably not the person you want your children to really, really want to follow. They're going to look up to their idol, and if their idol is doing everything they can to take one step ahead and doing steroids, chances are not your child is probably going to end up doing steroids too. So I hope this speech was very informed all of you of the situation. I just want to say thank you for listening.